Well, welcome to this episode of Sportsbook Junkies. I'm your co-host, Nate. I have my buddy Keebler here with me. How you doing, Keebler?
We're doing good, except for my camera decided to not work at the last second, so you guys are just going to have to listen to the sound of my beautiful voice without my face today.
I mean, I've had that technology issues before, so don't worry too about it. And sorry about last week, folks. Too much going on in real life here, and I, just been slammed with work, unfortunately. Although it's starting to come to the end here, so that's fantastic. But I still didn't win any bets last week, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
So we saved you guys some money by not going live.
So, but before we get into some knee-deep stuff here about some parlays and everything else you're thinking about, I just want to talk about how I feel that it's kind of wrong for ESPN to have a sports book. I know it's just licensing, but because it went live yesterday.
Is it in New York? Do you know?
It might be in New York. It's basically wherever Barstool Sportsbook was.
Oh, okay.
But they're new branding. I mean, it's Penn Penn Gaming. So I assume out of Pennsylvania is my guess. They kind of cut a licensing deal with ESPN, I believe is what it was. But I still don't think that a major media partner of a lot of sports should be dabbling in sports betting, licensing, or whatever else.
I agree with that.
So it's just kind of a issue to me. Because last weekend or this past weekend, Barstool was hosting a college basketball invitational just for a couple of games. And the little bit I saw of the broadcast was disgustingly 95% about betting. Because I think Portnoy and Big Cat were the announcers on it, and it to me it was just kind of disgusting. It's just like, actually give me some game material here. I don't give a shit if your bet of 6 threes from Yahoo McGee is going to hit. How about you broadcast the actual game here? So exactly. But I mean, I don't think ESPN is going to do that, but I still don't think that they should be tying into sports betting personally.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's great, especially when people think that games are already rigged and things like that, to have a major media company come in. And I know they're not going to influence it, but people are going to look at it and be like, oh, now this is even confirming that the games are rigged and things like that. It's just like, I don't know. I don't think it's a smart move. I know, like you said, it was previously the Barstool Sportsbook, right? So I get it, but I don't know. I don't think that they should be dabbling in sports betting. I think that they should just stick to covering the sports and then use it, and then still keeping the on FanDuel you can do this, on DraftKings you can do this, but to run one on your own, I don't think is very smart.
Right, and I also got to ask. I didn't click on anything, but apparently we're just going to be rocking Titans background here. I guess our buddy James is going to be happy, but still,
I could find a different one.
Oh, there we go. I kind of fixing it here, so we're all good there. I just thought it was funny because I didn't click on anything, and I assume you didn't click on anything either.
Yeah, no, I didn't click on anything. Yeah, unless there's a ghost messing with our behind the scenes things.
Exactly. So, we've had about another week of basketball here, and a first week of college basketball. And I, some first thoughts here, just in terms of betting. Generally, college basketball has been pretty consistent. Looking at it, the over/under lines are have been pretty decent. Nothing too. They've been on point for the most part. Again, like I said, not too many big upsets. Although Arizona going into Duke and taking care of business there looked pretty impressive over the weekend.
It's making me pretty upset personally.
Yeah, well, you can go watch the Cowboys and feel good about that, So
that is true. I have such a bad beat I want to talk about in a second. Absolutely.
Yeah, before we get to that, just there were, like I said, there were a few upsets. I mean, UC Irvine yesterday they upset USC, and I'm trying to find see if I can find what the spread was. So USC was 11.5 point favorite. Over under was 147.5. Just a little bit of the game that I saw. It doesn't seem like the spread should have been what it is. I mean, UC Irvine. Excuse me, I apparently can't talk today, and also I'm about to have some company here. In my photo here, my cat Santa wants to get involved here, but UC Irvine has a decent program throughout most of the years. They last year they did not make it to the NCAA tournament, but they had a pretty good run. They were 15-5 in their conference, 23-11 overall. Had some decent games. They beat Oregon, who was ranked at the time. So just like going back through, they've had some pretty good runs as a small program there, and took care of business against a top ranked team out of the Pac-12, soon to be Big Ten here. So, but nothing too crazy. I think the UConn Mississippi Valley State game yesterday set the college basketball record for the highest spread. Last I saw, it was at 45.5, and it was looking like it would get up to quite a bit higher. And
at least
no, UConn only won by 34. They did not cover, which I probably would have honestly thrown some money if I had decided. I would have thrown some money on Mississippi Valley Delta State to cover, because I figured UConn would take the pedal off the gas. Ended up being, according to ESPN Bet, 44.5 was the final spread total. I believe it was a higher on a couple other sports books. So just a few bites there in some college basketball really starting to settle in. Tonight you didn't really have any games tonight, and there's not really any big games tomorrow, but ramping up to the weekend for some college basketball
for sure.
But if you got this bad beat, you got to share this bad beat here.
It's fucking terrible, dude. So it was a 10-leg, stepped up 64% with a parlay boost, plus 99,807. 10-leg parlay. It was opening night of college basketball, so I think it was November 6th. It was Duke minus 27.5. That hit. UConn minus 26. That hit. Miami minus 24.5. That hit. Villanova minus 22. That hit. Kentucky minus 15.5. That hit. Kansas minus 30. That hit. Alabama minus 21.5. That hit. Houston minus 30. That hit. Arkansas minus 25. That hit. And guess which leg didn't hit?
Which one?
The University of North Carolina, when I had them minus 18.5 and they won by 16. That was $5 to turn into $5,000, and I missed by 3 points.
Well, who were they playing?
I think it was like Radford.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But I mean, what are you gonna do, boss? Not really much, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And like I can wish for 3 more points. What's going on, Trevor? How's your night going? Yeah, it sucked. And then I had a player prop parlay the next day, and I missed out on 2.7 thousand because LeBron and Curry didn't score enough. it was a rough week, so just want to put that in. I just have to bring up my bowl real quick, so I'll let you take the reins from here really quickly.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually I was just trying to see what I had recently. I just wanted to see if I had anything too bad. The last thing I had was Monday night game. I missed by a couple legs just because they still decide not to throw the ball to Hunter Renfro, and Alan Lazard can't catch to save his life. If I had stayed with the Bucks game against the Magic on Friday, I would have been A-okay there. I missed on a couple of college football over the weekend, some really close ones. One that was Texas minus 29. Oh, that was partially basketball. I forgot about that one. But UCLA losing and Oklahoma State getting blown out, that kind of ruined it for me. But aside from that, not really anything too crazy of late on my end.
Yeah, no, I have a couple big ones tonight. I'll start off with my one that should have been hitting because Giannis is out, but the Raptors are down 23. So it's a 12-leg parlay. We got $7 to turn into $10,500, and it is the Mavericks money line. They're up by 19. The Knicks money line, they're up 1.5. Raptors, just said it. Magic money line, they're up 3. Timberwolves against the Suns. Lakers against the Kings. Celtics are down 1 at halftime to the 76ers, but I have the Celtics winning that game. The Cavs beating the Trailblazers. Louisville minus 17. They're up by 22. Ohio State minus 24. They're up by 17 with 4.5 minutes left.
That's you're talking Louisville, like college basketball, Louisville, right?
Yeah.
That's surprising you would think because they had played. I mean, they are playing Coppin State, like, don't get me wrong, but they, there's a lot wrong in the water in Louisville, honestly. I mean, they barely beat UMBC, got kind of manhandled, honestly, for most of, if not the entire game against Chattanooga last week, or over the weekend, excuse me. So, Coppin State, the MEAC schools generally are kind of, it's kind of real iffy how successful that they're going to be moving forward. So, what was I going to say?
Yeah, I took a minus 17. I just trusted them to bounce back, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're, you got a minute. Well, I thought that said 11 minutes and 30 or 21 seconds. That is 1 minute and 21 seconds. I mean, they're kind of keeping control there, to say the least.
Yeah. And to finish off that parlay, I also have Texas minus 20 and Delaware minus 10.
Texas, I know, hasn't started yet.
Yeah. I really just need the Raptors to make a 23-point comeback. That's really all it is.
Well, they're probably not going to, if we're going to be honest.
They might. There's no Giannis. So Dame ended up just having a blazing first half.
I'm surprised Delaware's only up 10 right now. I mean, because Delaware State is not a good basketball program.
Right.
And you said you needed a minus 10?
Yeah. So if the score holds true to what it is right now, it'll just be a push.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through some of these stats on the Bucks Raptors game here, and I mean, Siakam's got 4 points.
Yeah, which again, I feel like he can just bounce back the second half. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this, and I'm not the biggest believer in plus minus by any stretch, but the starters for the Raptors: Siakam minus 23, Barnes minus 16. I can never say Jacob Poeltl. Either way, minus 25. Dennis Schroeder minus 22. Grady Dick minus 19. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's bad.
That's pretty bad.
I think they should just run with a big lineup of just Schroeder, McDaniels, Precious, Scotty, and Siakam, and then just throw everything that they have to win this game. Because, like I said, there's no Giannis. Their starting lineup is featuring Andre Jackson Jr., who's averaging 2 and 2 this year, has 0 tonight on 0 shots. Like I said, Dame just controlled that, and Malik Beasley went off in that half too. They combined for 40. So if they can figure out how to just put someone on Dame and someone on Malik Beasley, and then force everyone else, like Thanasis Antetokounmpo is getting minutes. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was watching somebody do a 10-day ladder today, and they had Dame 25 plus points and Trae Young 8 plus assists, and I mean, at half, Dame is at 24 points.
Exactly.
And at a couple minutes into the third, you got Trae Young at 6 assists. So I mean, it looks like that ladder is going to hit this week. Another decent parlay that can still be really talked about and really done this evening is it's in the Lakers Kings game. They got De'Aaron Fox over 26.5, Anthony Davis over 22.5, LeBron over 21.5, Sabonis over 10.5 rebounds, Anthony Davis over 10.5 rebounds, Sabonis 6 plus assists. Because I mean, that all depends on, and I haven't looked. I know there was some concerns about LeBron, I believe. So that obviously that LeBron one would, most likely void, but I'm trying to see here. I don't know, maybe, but yeah, that one doesn't seem too bad. Another one that I thought was kind of interesting here too. This was a 2-game same game parlay plus, and you had the Magic Bulls game, which let me pull up their box score. It's not too far in the future, and then the Celtics 76ers one, which looks pretty competitive from what I've seen so far. But you had Levine 25.5 over points, Levine over 4.5 assists. And as of now, the Bulls are down. They have not scored in the second quarter. They are down 12 or by 12 and have not scored in the second quarter. Yes. But as of now, Levine had no assists, so that's not tracking real well, and only has 4 points.
Right.
Yeah. But at the beginning of the day, I thought that one would have been really good. Another good one I saw was Tatum plus 30 points, over 8.5 rebounds and 4.5 assists. He's at 11 points at half, 4 assists and 3 rebounds. So he's still got some work to do there, but they got plenty of time, and they're close. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that portion of that one hit.
Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, I'm just looking through the scores and trying to see, because Delaware's they're up 10 again. So it was 9, now it's 10.
I was gonna say, I just see it as they're up 9 right now.
Yeah, my score says 76-66.
Well, that's good.
But all I need is a big Raptors comeback, which I still believe in. They're plus 1,300 right now if you live bet them. So I have them in a 3-leg parlay too, with Knicks, Mavericks, Raptors money line, which is 20 to win 118. So we're just gonna hope for the best, really.
If I had to pick a college basketball parlay for tomorrow, and mind you, these are all going to be money lines. I'd probably throw. You got a decent game tomorrow for one of the opening games of the Myrtle Beach Invitational. You got Charleston versus Vermont, 2 mid-major powers right there. I'm liking Vermont in that one. Vermont, they've had a kind of a quote-unquote down couple of years, but, they still ended up making the tournament. I believe. Let me double check that they made this last year. It's always forgetful to remember some of these schools because there's like 30 plus fucking conferences in college basketball.
Yeah, there's so many. I was looking through, and it's just insane.
They did make the tournament last year and lost to Marquette by 17. But they ended up running through the conference minus a 2-game losing streak in the middle of January.
There's not too many like good games tomorrow from what I'm looking at.
Dayton LSU might be competitive.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, Denver SIU might be competitive. SIU Edwardsville, excuse me. Which is funny that Southern Illinois has 2 satellite campuses in Division I basketball. Kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
I was looking through some of these other ones. Yeah, I mean, the schedule looks kind of real iffy. I mean, you got a good matchup, Furman versus Liberty. Furman looks pretty good, even though they lost a couple of big players. Liberty generally has a pretty good team. It'll be really interesting. I thought that they would be better, but Chicago State, they're missing a couple of key players, unfortunately, due to some denied eligibility. But usually, I mean, I don't know how much you really pay attention to college basketball, but generally, Chicago State's kind of a laughing stock, get beat up on sort of thing there. So they've got some good looking potential, and maybe if they can get those 5 stars, get the eligibility back, maybe they have a successful season.
Yeah, for sure. I don't watch college basketball too much, but I do know. Where is it? I think it just went away. Or did that push? Oh, thank God. Okay. I had Ohio State minus 24, and they won by 24, so avoided.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So now my $7 to win 10,500 is down to $7 to win 5,547.
Yeah, I mean Delaware won by 11, so there you go.
Yeah. So that's good. Louisville's up 22. I think that game might have just ended as well, right?
I think so. You said you had, yeah, they won by 20.
Okay, I had them minus 17, so that was good.
Yeah.
Magic are up 13. Like I said, Raptors are really my only issue right now.
Well, it could always be worse.
Yeah.
So I know. I'll be honest with you. I haven't really looked at the slate of games in the NFL this weekend. I do know that the Thursday night game is going to look pretty good.
Oh yeah.
We got Baltimore minus 3.5 over under 45.5. Just what are some first thoughts on this game here?
I really have no clue because the Bengals just lost to the Texans behind a CJ Stroud and another masterclass by him. I want to lean on the Ravens for this game. They have a very good defense, and their offense is starting to click. Even though the Ravens just sold me too, because they were up 31-17 to the Browns and lost 33-17 or 33-31. So that didn't help me at all. Oh yeah, that was another parlay. I was at 1.67K, and then it was them and the Falcons. They both lost by 2 when I had their money lines. So that was another bad beat on that end. As you can tell, my week has been pretty rough. But I would say, yeah, I'd probably go with the Ravens, but I would see them probably winning by a field goal. So I would lean on the Bengals plus 3.5, but Ravens money line.
I think I might go the opposite in terms of I feel comfortable just because, obviously the Ravens gave it up, but the Bengals are just too damn inconsistent right now. for me to comfortably say, especially going on the road. I mean, I think this will be a passing clinic, personally. I
Yeah.
mean, Burrow's at over under 252 and a half. Lamar's 223 and a half. I probably going to ride the overs on both of those. And you got at plus 112, Lamar over a touchdown and a half. I think I'm taking that too. I think he'll get a couple touchdowns tomorrow. That's where I'm at. I'm definitely not touching any of these rushing props, to be frankly honest with you. I might do like Lamar plus 25 yards rushing, but aside from that, I just don't feel super confident in any of the rushing.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, the Raptors are not going to make a comeback. They're 129 now, so.
Well, you never know. So, but yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the Sunday slate too, you got Bears, Lions. Definitely what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the under on some of the rushing props because the Bears, not as great pass defense, but top 3 rushing defense in the league. Browns, Steelers. Cleveland right now is favored.
Yeah.
However, I think that's going to drastically change, because Deshaun is obviously out right now and out for the rest of the year. Good riddance to that guy.
Karma.
But the over-under is 32 and a half, which sounds about right. I mean, I'm going to take the Steelers in that one. You got Chargers, Packers. That's going to be a high-scoring one, in my opinion. Raiders, Dolphins, Giants, Commanders, Cowboys, Panthers, Titans, Jags, Cardinals, Texans, Bucks, Niners, Jets, Bills. That one intrigues me because I'm really curious to see what the Jets are going to end up doing. I mean, at this point, I think you kind of need to make a change at quarterback. I mean, I know their options are a little limited, but
the
season's going to get away from them. And as we both tend to say here, Josh Allen, at least in my fantasy league, he leads in fantasy points, but
he also leads the league in turnovers.
And I mean, I don't know what it is with the offense this year, but man, I mean, he does not look like, in my opinion, does not look like a top 10 quarterback. To me, it's a situation where it's like, back in the early 2000s, you had all the Texas Tech quarterbacks, like Cliff Kingsbury, Graham Harrell. God damn, I forget half of these guys. But, they would put up these gaudy, ridiculous stats, but like nobody ever took them seriously.
Right.
I mean, aside from Pat Mahomes, I mean, again, nobody's really taken these quarterbacks seriously. I'm really trying to remember. Shoot, really, another one where I think it was like B.J. Simmons. That was another quarterback that racked up a bunch of I can't talk today apparently.
You're good.
So, I think Sony Crumby was another one. Davis Webb. I mean, Baker was there briefly, but he's obviously more well known for his time at Oklahoma, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but Seahawks Rams another game. Vikings Broncos. I can't believe the Vikings are somehow successful. And then the big one on Monday night, Eagles Chiefs. I am comfortably taking the Eagles in that game. I don't think I don't think the Chiefs are really that great this year, and I think they're where they're at only because of Mahomes and Kelsey.
Their
Now the
defense,
defense, yeah, their defense looks a lot better, but I mean, your defense can really only do so much. I mean, they have a couple of good wins against the Jags, comfortable against the Chargers. That Dolphins win wasn't too bad, but I mean, close game with the Vikes, close game with the Jets. Blew out my home team Bears there, but
lost to the Broncos.
yeah, that Broncos game was like real interesting. And I got to say, it's nice to see Russell Wilson have a good year this year. I mean, it's definitely not. He definitely is not the reason that they're 4-5, in my opinion. They're still struggling in some regards, but I mean, he's had some pretty good games, honestly. So
It's been
he's
more of
not
a defense not named Pat Surtain.
yeah. So, but that's probably the game of the week if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with that.
So, but yeah, I'm really curious to see how that one's going to go. You got any thoughts about some of these games this weekend?
Um, I'm just looking at like tomorrow's slate, and there's only 2 NBA games on. Um, Nets and Heat, which I would comfortably take the Heat, and then, well, no, if the Nets are fully healthy, take the Nets, but if they have like major injuries, then take the Heat. But Thunder Warriors, I'm excited for that game. Draymond just got suspended for 5 games. Following,
Yeah, I hadn't seen anything about that. Um, that's another one. It's just like that happened right at the beginning of the game, and think about people having think about some of the props people probably picked. Honestly,
Klay Thompson's unders have been very popular this year, so that helped out a lot of people.
right?
Um, Draymond, I normally take his points plus, or not points, rebounds plus assists, and that usually goes well. I didn't yesterday, thankfully. Um, but for this game tomorrow, I'm taking the Thunder money line with Curry injured, Draymond out, Clay probably not going to do much. I think the Thunder minus 2.5 is very comfortable. But for the games this weekend, for Sunday,
Here's a dark horse pick. I am going to take. Um, I don't know what the line is going to be, especially with some of this, but I'm going to take at least points over on Trace Jackson Davis this weekend
yeah, I think it's a smart idea.
or tomorrow. Excuse me.
I definitely can see that for sure. Who was the guy that just went off for the Warriors that everyone was making a big deal about that Timberwolves Warriors game? It was Podziemski. He just dropped 23, 7, and 5 in a 3-point loss to the Timberwolves. So I think that has some value to it too. If you want to look at his props, if they even release them in that case. But I think for tomorrow, that's probably the smart move. But for Sunday, I'm just going to run down my money lines real quick just because there's a ton of games. Cowboys, Steelers, because the Browns are going to be on their second string quarterback. I trust the Steelers defense to get it done. I'm probably going to take the under 33, even though that's incredibly low already.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Pickett looks like a lifeless corpse out there half the time, so it's not a bad under to take.
Yeah. I'm taking the Lions over the Bears, the Chargers over the Packers, -3 even. Texans over the Cardinals, but I do like what I saw from Kyler last week in his return. So that might be risky, but I feel like they just don't have the weapons to get shit done. Jaguars, I'm taking over the Titans. Sorry, James. The Jaguars are starting to click, and they look good. Dolphins -13.5 against the Raiders. I would probably take. Commanders and Giants. I mean, it pains me to say go with the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, is captain of the tank is not captain. Is the tank commander Tommy DeVito going to be starting again?
Yeah, probably. I think.
You know, I I still don't think the Giants are going to get that first overall pick, but
Oh, he was limited.
you know,
He was limited at practice on Wednesday because of his shoulder, so he might not even be the quarterback. That's great.
I mean, who's the backup currently? Because I know Tyrod's still on IR.
I don't think there is a backup for Tommy DeVito.
Well, you could say if there were such a thing as sack uh, uh, um, over unders for like the team, I would still take the under for the Commanders because it's not like they got a defensive line worth a damn anymore.
Yeah,
Even with the human turnstile Evan Neal on the Giants line.
whatever Saquon's rushing attempts line is, just take the over. That's all I'm gonna say. It's probably gonna be at like 22, and I'm still comfortable with taking the over.
Yeah, which is a bummer because I'm a big Wandell Robinson fan, and I think he would do successfully well. But
I'm a big
when they
one.
got the crap that they got,
I'm a big Wandale guy. Wandale Robinson.
so
But to move on from that game, I would say 49ers, Bucks, 49ers easily in San Francisco. Jets, Bills. I'm just gonna be the one to say it. Jets money line. Just I think it's worth a shot, especially because they're +7, and they're +260. I think that holds a lot of value.
right.
Seahawks and Rams. I would go Seahawks -1 just to get a little more for your dollar. And then the night game, Vikings Broncos. The Broncos are favorited. I would probably go with the Vikings +2.5, maybe alt it to 3.5, so that way it gives them a field goal flexibility.
Right.
But that would be my picks for Sunday.
I don't hate those picks at all. I really don't. So, I think what I'm gonna do is come Saturday, I'll throw some parlays together, and we can throw them out on the bite size sports and see if people want to bite on them. I just, for me, I just kind of want to see, how some of the practices and stuff shake out and go from there.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but before we go, I believe that they just started up. But I want to say, shout out to our homies, Kev, John, and James. I don't know why I was forgetting James there, but they should be doing a stream. I think a stream tonight or tomorrow for Han Shot First. If you are a Star Wars fan and like our sports content, we usually get a nice little thing going there. I also want to shout out to Trevor and Dan, right? It's Dan. Yeah. Who do another damn fantasy podcast. I follow along and I take some of their suggestions there when I can. They've got a good episode tonight. Most of these leagues are wrapping up. Most fantasy leagues are wrapping up. Got about 4 weeks left in the fantasy regular season. So you want to tune in and see their thoughts and opinions moving forward. What do you guys got going on with the bounce tomorrow?
I'm not sure if we have the run of show yet, but I assume it's just going to be things from the week that have gone on.
I know I'm going to be really curious to see some of your guys' thoughts on the Draymond bitch fest last night.
Yeah, that's definitely getting talked about. I think that'll probably be at the top of the show. But yeah, there's been good NBA news. There's been a lot of injuries too, which we'll probably talk about. Unfortunately, that's the bad part of sports, the injury side. But yeah, make sure don't miss tomorrow, 9:00 or 9:05 with Kev, James, and I for the bounce.
And I'll be having my second episode across the Yard of Bricks again, I had just been swamped with work, so I haven't been able to really touch base, but be able to do a quick review of 2023 seasons, kind of look forward and just touch base there. So you can find me this weekend on that. Any final gambling thoughts before we move on and move out?
Um, the Bucks can't miss a shot, to say the least. The Raptors are down 28 still with 16 and
So
a half
maybe
to go.
maybe dumb advice is every time some star is out and you think something's going to happen, bet on the opposite.
Exactly. Take what you don't want, or that's what I learned. Take what you don't want, and then that's usually what'll hit.
And for everybody watching, please gamble responsibly. Don't bet on ESPN Bet, and just enjoy life. This is supposed to be fun. Don't end up on Gamblers Anonymous, but if you do, please give them a call and stay safe out there.
Have a good night, guys.